Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Mr. and Lady at home, thank you all so much for tuning into Kinetic Aesthetic. I am your hostess with the mostest. The name goes Jerm, and it's Tuesday. It's hot as fuck over in my neck of the woods. So I honestly don't even feel like showing y'all my face right now. I just feel like recording and getting this one done. But yes, no, it's sports talk time. We have the draft tonight. I'm excited about that. I can't wait to talk and give you the hype for that. We've got some huge NBA trades that I can't wait to talk about. And then I have some quick little tidbits that I want to get to and wrap with y'all on. So you already know the deal. I'm not going to waste too much time. I want you all to make yourself comfortable. Prop those feet up. Grab a snack, grab a drink. Do what you have to do so that when you are listening to this, that you are comfortable. And just, make sure that you hype the video up. If you are watching on YouTube, give it a hype, boost it in the algorithm. If you're watching it on Spotify or any other streaming platform, make sure that you like it. Make sure you subscribe to the show. Do all of that good stuff. You know what I'm saying? And make yourself nice and comfortable because sports talk is coming at you right now. Okay, so we are starting things off with the main reason why I had to re-record this episode, the Giannis trade. As reported, the Milwaukee Bucks are trading Giannis and Bobby Portis to the Miami Heat. They're getting Tyler Hero, Kiel Ware, Yame Jaquez Jr., and Kasparis Wakonis, and 3 first-round picks, including the number 13 pick in tonight's draft, and then 1 more pick swap and 1 second-round pick. They're getting all that in return for Giannis and Bobby Porter. So I'm going to start by talking about this from the Heat's point of view. This is obviously huge. This is the first real superstar they have been able to grab after being rumored to be in contention for so many people. It's been a long time coming. There was a long time where Jimmy Butler needed a little running mate that they could never really get him. And then after he's been gone, it was just bam. So this is obviously great. I mean, it'll be interesting to see how this is going to work, with both of them. I've never really known Giannis to have a 3-point shot or Bam. So, I mean, Giannis is already, you expect him to be the guy that's just going to be driving and going crazy. So we'll see if Bam is able to just become better just shooting wise. But I just don't look at this team, even with Giannis on them, even with Giannis on the roster, especially giving up what they gave up to get him, just giving up Tyler Hero. I don't know if I look at them as just better than any of these other top contending teams in the East. I still don't know if they're better than the Celtics. I'm not taking them over New York. So that's the real interesting part. The thing that's like, is this going to really be worth it in the end? And on top of that, you have to worry about Giannis's health. But I don't really want to say that I hate it. I just think that this could have definitely been a better. I guess I have to just go over into the Giannis aspect of it. It could have been a better destination for him per se, where he could have been somewhere where he could have actually been in having a spot to really contend, because I just don't see how it works with Miami. The team right now, yes, they have a great front court, but I don't know about the backcourt. And on top of everything else, it's just they don't line up well compared to some of these other teams. So I'm not the biggest fan of Miami right now, but again, it's not like they're getting Giannis for some short-term rent. They're probably going to they're going to sign him to a huge extension, and then they'll have him for a good couple of years. So we'll see what they're able to build. But he also is reported to have been able to have the option to go to Boston if he would have wanted. They had a package where they were going to give Milwaukee Jalen Brown, the finals MVP, who won it, not Jason Tatum. And they were going to give up some first-round picks. They didn't want to give up a couple of their role players that they had. And, that's shitty for Jalen Brown. Who knows what that means for his relationship with them and everything. But in terms of Giannis, if it was his decision at the end of the day and he chose to go to Miami over Boston, I think it was a mistake. I would much rather play with Jason Tatum than I would with Bam. You're going to contend better. I just think that Boston has just proven themselves to be a much more shrewd and savvy organization at the moment than Miami in terms of building out a contender, so I would trust them more. And yeah, Jalen Brown just being able to be the real piece that they give up, that would have worked. But at the end of the day, I really just don't. I'm a bit disappointed in this trade because I thought that Giannis would be going somewhere, would really shake things up and would make things interesting. And I just don't find this Heat team interesting. That's why I never really thought that they were going to be the ones to get him. I had a lot of thoughts that it would either be Boston, potentially be Oklahoma City, just some team that would really be able to get him, and it would either put them over the top and make them damn near undefeatable, or it would just really reset the conference, whatever conference the conference he ended up in. And this just doesn't reset the Eastern Conference. It maybe makes it a little more interesting. But again, I don't even, from what I've been reading and looking at, I don't even think they'll be able to keep Norman Powell, who's very important to their team. So who really knows? This could end up just being a move that just ends up making them like the fucking 6th seed. And I have already had my doubts about Giannis because of his health and everything like that. So I'll go on the record right now and just say I'm not the biggest fan of this trade for the Heat. I think that they could have, they could have focused on what they were doing. This was too much. This was just a bit too much. But maybe Pat Riley has another move up his sleeve. Maybe they'll be able to get something built next year in the offseason. But as of right now, I am not the biggest fan of this trade. And I don't think that this makes them a real serious contender in the East over anybody else. And when it comes to Milwaukee, I think this is honestly a really nice haul. It's probably about as best as you were going to get, considering the fact that you got 3 first-round picks. You've got the pick swap. You've got the second-round pick. You've got a couple of young players, especially, and you've got Tyler Hero, who's I don't really think of him as more than just a guy, but I think that he is, exciting. He's a fun offensive player to watch. This is a decent haul. Yeah, you can feel bad about Giannis leaving. You can do whatever you want, but at the end of the day, he brought you a championship. It's not like you brought him, you sent him off somewhere where he's going to be like a problem and he's always going to be annoying to watch, just shitting on everybody else. And you got 3 first-round picks. This is the way you really start a rebuild. So honestly, the way it's looking like early, I would say that Milwaukee is on the early end of winning this trade. That remains to be seen. We'll see how Giannis and Bam play together and how everything goes in the season. But as of right now, I'm saying that I think that the Bucks won that trade. Okay, so the NBA draft is tonight. I am very hyped for it. This is honestly an exciting time to be a Bulls fan for the first time in what feels like ever. I already have a good idea of what's going to happen with the first pick. It seems like this AJ Bonanza guy is going to be going number 1. Him going to Washington just seems like a foregone conclusion, although I will say Utah is so in love with him that I could see some type of, you select him, but we're going to trade this guy and give up a boatload for him. So we'll see what happens with it. Number 2 pick is where things start to get really interesting with this draft, because Peterson already had concerns about his desire and shit like that, and the whole mental aspect of everything. So I could see a world where either Caleb Wilson or Carlos Boozer ends up surprising people and going number 2, and that just throws everything out of whack. Now, the way I would prefer things to go is that if somebody's going to surprise everybody and things are going to get crazy, that it's going to be Carlos Boozer going number 2, and then number 3 or 4 will be number 3 and 4 will either be, Peterson, Wilson, or Wilson, Peterson, some combination of those. And that's because I like the Bulls with either one of those players. I like Peterson because I think this is a guard-driven league. If you have a chance to get an exciting young guard who you can build around and who can be the guy, you go and you get that, especially if you're getting him with the chip on his shoulder because people have played with his name. And Caleb Wilson has always been the guy that people have slotted us to be selecting, and I'm here for it. We just got Nick Claxton in a trade. The Bulls needed a center, so that's something that is going to be very, very nice to have taken care of. So now it feels like with Giddey on the team, who, it's still a Giddler, you've got him, you've got fucking Bulzeus, you've got Wilson, or whoever this number 4 pick is going to be. I do think that this team has the potential to be fun, to be exciting to watch. Who knows if they'll be making a real push. They've got a new coach. They got Tiago Splitter in there. So we'll see what type of system he's going to be installing that's going to get everything going. But I feel like for the first time in a long while, I am just excited to be a Bulls fan. And I'm excited to really try to get some games going. I'm going to have to be watching on my laptop, but I'm going to be trying to watch. Outside of that, it should still just be an interesting draft period. You've got Keaton Wagler, who is a player out of Illinois, who ever since the Illini were making their push in the tournament, I was been paying attention to him. I would love to see him go over somewhere and be successful. There's a lot of buzz about him going number 5 overall to the Clippers. I've even seen some shit about the Bulls surprising people and taking him at number 4, but I hope they don't. And outside of that, I've heard a lot about names like Daniel Acuff, a lot about guys. There's a lot of small guards that are not a lot of guards that are going in those 5 through 10 picks. So, like I said, it should be a very interesting night tonight. Outside of that, the Bulls also have the number 15 pick, so it'll be interesting to see what they do with that. 2 first-round picks, 2 potentially very game-changing rookies coming in. You just gotta love it. It's always an exciting time in your franchise when you get a youth movement going. When you got a new coach, you've got some potential just new shit to look forward to. So I'm excited to see what's going to happen. I'm excited to see who the Bulls end up drafting. I'm excited to see just some of these guys that are going to be drafted and where they're going to go. This has been one of the most hyped draft classes in a long while, so it'll be interesting to see just a couple years from now if we look back on this as a whole bunch of duds or if this was just worth all the hype. So over into some NFL news. We have the story of Brendan Sorsby. This is a case that I have not really talked about up until now, so just to give you all a quick rundown of it, Brendan Sorsby is a college quarterback, well, I guess former college quarterback, who he had a very serious gambling addiction, and he got caught. He had been gambling on games that his teams were involved in. He was a true freshman at Indiana over in 2022, and he was placing bets on those. Excuse me. But he ended up getting caught. He went to a 35-day inpatient rehab program in Arizona for gambling addiction, and he ended up transferring to Texas Tech, but they denied him his rights to ever play for the team. Pretty much that meant that his whole college career was over. And that meant that he was going to try to go pro by declaring for the NFL supplemental draft. From what I had been reading, I really hadn't been following his story at all in terms of just how good he was or anything like that. But I had seen a lot of comments that he was worth at least like a second round or even a third round pick in the supplemental draft, which, I mean, that's still like a worthy draft pick. But the NFL has decided, because of, the fact that he has issues that are just too significant in their words, they are not going to even have a supplemental draft. They called it off this year, and that means that he is just he's shit out of luck. He is left left going upriver without a paddle. And to be honest with you, this makes complete sense. Gambling, listen, people can say what they want about the NFL and all of these sports leagues allowing people who are domestic abusers, who are drug users, who are just scummy to just run rampant and just do what they want in their league. But at the end of the day, the only thing that's really going to get you quickly blacklisted and banned is if you call into question the integrity of the game. The big reason why people like Pete Rose were taken as seriously and just banned outright, especially considering that there have been, again, things that have been so much worse, is because once you have people questioning whether what they're seeing is on the up and up and things of that nature, that completely that is the one way to kill a cash cow. Because once people feel like they're being lied to, once people feel like they're seeing something that's fake, especially when they're supposed to take it so seriously, when they're putting their money on the line, when people have whole gambling addictions centered around this shit, that is the one quick way where you're gonna take them away. All these sports leagues know it. That's why stuff like this is always taken as seriously as it is. That's why the NFL is saying this. I read in here that they said something about that he can still try to declare for the 2027 NFL draft, but I just don't think that any team is ever going to touch him with the 10 feet pole. Once you are caught up in gambling, especially to the degree that this guy was caught up in, you are pretty much donezo. You were betting on your own team. It's over. They're not going to give you that chance. They're not going to take the risk of you really fucking up the integrity of this whole $1 billion operation. And that's how it starts. So, yes, it is hypocritical considering the NFL is in bed with all of these gambling companies and shit like that, or at least it is in my opinion, but I understand you have to do what you have to do so that the integrity of the actual game itself is always pure. We don't give a fuck about the people that are playing it, but as long as the game itself is always on the up and up and these are just the best people out there playing it, that's all these sports leagues care about. That's why somebody like Brendan Sorsby, if you get caught gambling and all that shit, if you're an athlete, especially if you're doing that shit involving your own team, you are donezo. It's a wrap. You might as well just consider yourself cooked on broil. All right. Now, the couple little quick hitters I want to just touch on right quick. Becky Hamnond. Becky Hamnond was very, very famous because or at least she has gotten really famous in the sports media world lately because she has gone viral for an old take she had where she said that Jalen Brunson could never be a 1A on a championship. He's too small. He's not going to be an exception to the rule like Steph Curry, like a guy like Isaiah Thomas. After they have won that title, people have definitely given her shit. There have been so many people who have called her out. They have said that she needs to apologize, yada, yada, yada. And she came out recently and she said that she still stands by what she said. She doesn't defend it. She said, yeah, he proved me wrong, but I stand by what I said about, him being about people that small, not being able to do it. He's just an exception. People are on her ass still, or even more reignited. And at the end of the day, I just really think that people need to stop letting that whole misogyny, because this is one of those moments where I feel like it's not even, I don't know if some people realize that they do it, because I will admit, the way people have went so hard about her for that take has been a little bit crazy. Yes, it was a bad take that aged terribly, but at the end of the day, she was just going based off of what we all have been pretty much conditioned to think and know. If a guard is that small, he cannot be the 1A, especially in a league where you have guys like Wemby, where you guys have fucking Giannis and everything like that. There's a lot of big guys. That's how it works. Even the guards we have now, you have fucking Shea, who's 6'6". These guys the guards aren't just 6'1" or 6'2" anymore. These guys are coming in and at 6'4", or either all the way up to 6'7" and shit. And that's just the way things go. The game just evolves like that. Jalen Brunson being as small as he is and still being able to dominate is a testament to him being the just exception to the rule that he is. She shouldn't have to apologize for it. There have been plenty of male podcasters, sports analysts, and media members out there who have made terrible takes, and we don't go this hard when it comes to demanding that they make apologies and shit like that. So I sort of noticed it, but I'm happy that she stood by it. She shouldn't be out there having to apologize to anybody at all. So people got to chill on her when it comes to that. Other thing that I want to talk about was this whole Caitlin Clark drama that I've been noticing bubbling. I've been already peeping how, at least on the shows that I watch, the whole tone around talking about her has changed. You've got so many people who are quick now to want to bring up how she whines so much and how she does this and that, and about how she is just like not fun to watch because of her whole like flopping, and I wouldn't even necessarily say flopping. I don't know if I've heard that, but just whining and just temper tantrums. And I completely agree. I've seen clips of her doing that don't paint her in a favorable light, although I will admit I haven't watched too many of her games. The thing that I will say is that it feels like this is just the honeymoon phase for her is over now. And I've already said that I hated that the WNBA really became, instead of just like all of the new success being credited to them just having new exciting players like her, like Angel Reese, like Aja Wilson, like all of these other great female players like Juju Watkins. I don't know if she's in the league yet. I just got to check on that one. Like they've got so much talent that they should be looking forward to, but it feels like it became weird. And I don't know if I've ever talked about this enough to really say it, but I don't think that Caitlin Clark has ever really ran towards the whole culture war shit. She's never really championed that or tried to make that her whole thing. But it's just sort of the way things have went, and now it feels like there's a whole weird energy around the WNBA. The talent is still there. I still think that Caitlin Clark has the potential to be even better than she is now. I think that she just has to really, stop doing she has to respond better to challenges, if that makes sense. It would do her some justice to probably sort of get away from some of the noise that comes from all of that stuff anyway. The way that it just doesn't paint her in the favorable light, the way that it sort of gives people this idea that she's being persecuted, that the league is out to get her, some weird shit like that, when it's really not. All of that is just not needed, and all of it just takes away from being able to appreciate her skill at the game of basketball for what it is. All right, everybody. I want to say thank you again for checking Kinetic Aesthetic out. Make sure that you like, follow, subscribe, and make sure you hype the video up if you're on YouTube. Do whatever you have to do so that you are not only boosting us up in the algorithm, boosting us up with your support, but make sure that you stay up to date and in tune on whenever we drop something. You all have a wonderful rest of your day. Have a beautiful rest of your evening. And check us out next time, because Kinetic Aesthetic will be coming right back at you very, very soon.